what was the most helpful part within Simcoe County that helped you get things started?
So I'm relatively new to the Simcoe County, but immediately the first thing that I found was you have these amazing organizations that. So as a new immigrant, so the things that Miguel is talking about, like a backstory, is my story right now, right? So what the heck is a credit score? I never heard of that. Qu'est-ce que c'est? S'il vous plaît, pardonnez-moi. What nonsense? So like for a rental, you need that, and you go to the bank and the health, everything is just like I'm getting hit like a bus every step of the way. So there's these organizations that are willing to not only give you information about entrepreneurship, but also like, all right, okay, so this is how you solve all these other like issues. And furthermore, my work with Agelic that connected me to you guys. There's somebody that'll put an arm on your shoulder and say, "It's okay. You don't have to lose it. It's fine." So the information and more importantly, the emotional support as a new immigrant, you're kind of losing your marbles. You're all alone. It's a strange country. Bahrain is one of the tiny, smallest countries in the world, and this is one of the largest countries in the world. So for me, it was a huge change, and having both the knowledge and that kind of emotional support really made a huge difference for me.
Yeah, I can just well imagine having that emotional support. You're feeling like probably a bag of smashed hammers, and it's like, what do I tune? And Agilic, right? I
Yes,
know of them, and I've
angelic.
heard
Yeah.
Angelic. Yeah, I hear such amazing things, and you wouldn't really consider them part of our ecosystem from an entrepreneurial perspective, but they are. They actually help with those very, very foundational elements of giving you that emotional support and putting you on the right track. Thanks for sharing that. Um, I wanted to ask Sarah, you come from Uganda, you came to Canada 2001, if I'm not mistaken. You started, did you say six businesses?
Yes.
Okay, so you're like the serial entrepreneur. Um, yeah, I really can identify with that. I love it. I think a lot of people in this room can as well. It sounds to me like there was a number of hardships by the stories that we've heard so far. Can you identify one major hardship that you encountered? And then was there assets or was there supports within the community that helped you get over that bump, or you might have called it a mountain at the time, but major hardship, and what was the major support or asset within the community that helped you?
No. I think one of the questions which should have been asked as well would have been, why didn't those other businesses succeed? Over the years, I've learned one thing. Like, I came from a country where you can wake up, you can just sweep up some donuts and start selling, and that's a business going, and nobody's gonna question you. You can get away with it. You can make money any time of day. You can start a bottling company and just supplying water anyhow. But when I came to Canada, things, even though at the back of my mind, I knew I had to do something, until a friend of mine, somewhere along the lines told me, "Sarah, you have to do things differently." So being in the Simcoe County was one of those areas where one thing led to another. I started enrolling into different organizations, different, contacting different places. The INSFIL website itself has a lot of resources, tapping into them. And one thing I found, that when you call them, they give you, either refer you or they will connect you to somebody else. But one of the hardships, I think, were personal. Coming from a country where we don't normally ask a lot of questions, we know how to do things somehow. And so over the years, I've come over that obstacle of thinking, I just kind of, if I see something, I would kind of say, probably that doesn't apply to me, or that probably I'll be rejected. So I give my own, I would say, answers before I even contact them. So over the years, what I've discovered is that actually, if you ask, there's somewhere that can lead you to. So one of the hardest has been me overcoming my own beliefs, I believe, or even just
Mhm.
call them personal limitations. So, and I found that actually, even when sometimes I go, like, for example, when I applied for the Startup Company Plus, which was a year before this year, when I actually got approved and I even got a grant for that, it was it was one of the things when I applied, and at that time, or when they referred me, I found out that actually they had closed for the intake for that time. if I had been the other old Sarah, I wanted things to happen like now. So I would have just said, no, you know what, that doesn't belong to me. But later on, I just said, I'll just leave myself on the waiting list. And then they called back and they said, hey, it's here. So over the time, I've learned that patience, persistence, and, just being able to understand that it takes time to grow the things has led me to where I am. And I'm happy about that. So now I am not only I actually joined the Henry Bannick Entrepreneurship Center, which led me to, learning more about my market and so many different things. I'm in the Berry Business Center, Sandbox. The library down the road is easy for us to access. And then DMZ Infill has also been an amazing space, which you can, we network, we talk to different, business owners. And being a small, like Titi was mentioning, being in a smaller community, I mean, the mayor is just across the road, and you meet, and they get to talk to us and ask us, where are we stranded? Obviously, some things will take some time. Like we would want to see more, spaces for us to rent at a reasonable price. And
There's
so many other,
so much.
yes,
It's
but
interesting. I'm glad that you found patience. I think that's important. That's what I heard. But I also heard that it's like connecting the dots. You talk to this person who connects you with the next person who connects you with the next, and it's not just one asset within Simcoe County, but it's like, and it seems to me, and I know you a little bit, Sarah, that you've accessed so many of the different organizations here to help you and move that needle in the right direction. So I'm glad that you didn't identify just one, but and that personal, I guess, the doubt of starting a business and then not knowing the environment, the landscape, forced you to learn some patience, but also put you in the driver's seat. 6 companies, that is incredible. Well done, well done.
I'm sticking to
Oh,
this one though.
yeah, I can imagine. I gotta, Miguel's clapping in. Miguel, you really have a handle on these little icon things. It's pretty amazing. I haven't figured that out yet. So Miguel, you had a couple of hardships. You said approximately, I believe, 5 years of those survival jobs working in Tim Hortons and construction jobs and whatnot. So you encountered a lot of hardships in getting into Canada and finding your dream. What was the hardship with starting that business, and what was the asset or the organization that helped you overcome that trial?
Yeah, totally. I think I can focus on 3 things. The first one is the journey of a newcomer is almost, if not the exact same as the journey of an entrepreneur. At first, no one knows you, no one likes you, no one trusts you. So to win that know, like, and trust factor, it takes time. It takes networking. And that within those 5 years, I got really good at networking and connecting with people and providing value. And that helped me just to start like the foundation of everything that I was going to do later. The second big roadblock that I saw in my journey was mindset. And it has to do with being new to a country or new to a business. It's quite lonely. So it's much better when you have a community, when you are in a group of people, like-minded people, where you can also ask for help, similar to what Sarah and Luz were talking about. And lastly, especially for me, I'm in the business of helping people, and I can do that with my eyes closed. It's my passion. It's amazing. But for me, sales and marketing were 2 things that I was not that great. And thanks to mentors that I found at HPEC, the Henry Berknick Entrepreneur Center, and with the program Further Faster, and also through Innisfield DMC, wow, things have changed like super fast.
Again, it's like multiple organizations is what I'm hearing here. Yeah, yeah, I hear you. I want to ask Ola, Titu, sorry, Titi. What were some of the main hardship that you had when you came here, and what was or who was the organization that helped you the most?
So I will say that, thank you, that I want to echo everything everyone has said. If you come in here as a career person looking to be able to integrate, That can be a really, really tough journey, particularly if you've had a really great career, right? You're an economic immigrant, not necessarily a different one. So I want to put a pin on that. But one of the things we immediately found is that there is value in all of that experience. There's value in being able to connect the dots to a mentor. There's value in being able to connect to those who are having similar experiences. So I'm looking at Hamza and I'm like, Hamza, let's have a chat. I have been to Bahrain before, so I'm more than happy to be able to lean in and see how I can support you.
Love
But
it.
to your point, one of the things we absolutely found interesting was yes, we had some funds that we wanted to be able to invest in our business, but we didn't have a credit history here. We were immigrants. Who was going to support this two human beings who came from a different continent and say they want to set up this business that nobody has ever done before in this environment? So finding the right financial partner for us was a journey. And we spoke to the traditional banks and they didn't quite work. Why? Because we are a small business. And then we connected with, and Olu tells this part of our journey so far really well. We connected with, what was his name?
I can't remember the name, but it was the Innisfil Economic Development Team.
So the predecessor to, I believe, what is now, or what birthed the DMC, so to say.
Yeah, so we spoke to them and they asked us, have you guys heard of Noto Saga Futures? I'm like, okay, no.
What is Noto Saga Futures?
So to cut the long story short, we spoke to them and they said, bring your business plan. We'll take it to approval and see if you qualify. And they didn't even give us any hassles at all. They qualified us for what we needed to start the business. Because if I give some context, right, there was a lot of construction work that needed to be done to make the space ready for a gym, to buy the equipment and all that. So that was a huge part of the setup cost that we needed.
Mhm.
And they didn't give us any hassles at all. I mean, it was quite an amazing experience with them.
Yeah, and when Olu says they didn't give us any hassles, that's really hinged on the fact that they were very clear on what they needed from us. They prepared us to be successful applicants, right? And that again, you might get this in a big city, but that level of handholding from an institution that's looking to be able to borrow money from you, and if I'm going to be completely upfront about it, make a profit off of you, right? Really made the difference. Having, and I will, mention the team here, whether it's Andy, I think it's primarily Andy who's been supported, but Martin, having the board really put things in place to help you as a new immigrant succeed at developing your business plan and accurately align it to be able to access the community-based funding in place made all the difference.
And I would add, once COVID hit, that was another ball game. So
Yeah.
how would we support a business plan that we said, okay, in 3 months down the line when we start working, when the gym start running, we will start to repay our loans. And 3 months down the line, everybody's still in lockdown. 6 months down the line, we're still in lockdown. 8 months down the line, we're still in lockdown. And we went to Andy and said, Andy, you're going to have to help us here. And she said, yes, the board already understands that. I don't think any other lender did this for any other business. And
Not that we don't think. We have the data to back the fact that there were other 9-round franchises that opened like we opened, that were supported in bigger cities by banks, and that level of contextual understanding to enable growth in difficult times was non-existent. So it really did make a difference.
Yes, and what they did was they paused all payments until we eventually opened when the government said we could open. Even at that, they said, don't bother paying anything for another 3 months. Let's get you going before you start paying some level of interest back on the loan. So they paused it. I mean, I don't think anybody got that deal.
Yeah.
I'm so grateful that we went with North Saga because the businesses that my wife is talking about are friends that opened around the same time and no more because of the pandemic.
Which is really unfortunate. So, if you're asking summary answer, not always Saga Future, if you're an entrepreneur or have entrepreneurial thoughts, talk to us. More than happy to introduce. But you have a great team with the SimCoe team as well. So
Martin is actually on the call.
Oh, Martin is.
He is. He's here. Yes.
I didn't know he was here. He didn't pay us to do this.
What an amazing praise. What an amazing story. And it is so true that you come to the country, no credit rating, the big banks, they're not going to touch you. And you have something, an organization like the Nottawasaga Futures, the Community Future Development Corporation, that look at entrepreneurs in a different way and understand that plight that you go through. So I've heard this in my field so many times where entrepreneurs really struggle finding money and getting that support that is so needed so much. So we have the Community Futures, which is amazing. Big shout out for Martin today. Well done. Love to see that happen. Lewis, you came to Canada. You had a couple of bumps along the way. Pandemics, Christopher. You had a couple of hardships within growing Green Parent and Plant Baby. What was the biggest organization or solution that you found within Simcoe County itself to help you navigate and get over that bump?
No, it's a key question for everyone who aspires to be an entrepreneur, Don. So here's the thing, as I was listening to my colleagues, I share, of course, some of the sentiment and experience. Two, two, two barriers that we found. Sometimes it's just the mindset, and I say, okay, a business might implies, sometimes it is true, sometimes it's somewhat true, investment. Do we have the financial capacity or enough credit to start, right? And that's something that just by asking, it was an issue for us. Just by asking, and again, I refer a lot to the HPEC, to the community at the Sandbox, and to the DMC in Innisfil. Just by asking, they were super nice and effectively pointing us towards the direction of resources. Like, here you could go to Futurepreneur, right? And tell them that you are in our program. You're an HPEC alumni, that you are affiliated to the DMC, and that is going to increase your credibility in front of Futurepreneur and BDC. And that helped a lot. Or simply pointing us towards the direction of grants, right? So what the accelerators or incubators in the ecosystem and the community at the Small Business Center and the Sandbox also is very good at, is at pointing you towards the direction of grants, which could be from $1 to $2 to $3 or $5,000 to larger grants if your business is already there, and every dollar count, right, when you're starting and you're bootstrapped. So that was very helpful to us, pointing us towards the direction of information that help us financially. The second roadblock, Don, and I want to share this in particular, right, because this could be complex. We are in the baby food industry. That implies not a little, not somewhat, but a lot of regulations in Canada, right? And sometimes that could be very detrimental to your desire of start something. Like, how can I start a baby food company? Come on, right? Like, but okay, let's ask. And in this case, kudos to the HPEC, Don, because you know that when we were part of the Further Faster, we were assigned a mentor that cost money, but that the HVAC absorbs a very relevant amount of money for food science. In this case, food science, just to make sure that everything that we develop for kids is in compliant, and ultimately to let us know that while sounds complex, it is complex, but it's doable, right? It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, big corporation started somewhere, probably like this, right? But the HVAC was very helpful on guiding us not to be afraid or not to create the illusion of high barriers from a regulatory perspective. Let's just see what we need. And the HVAC said, you should connect with this food science on us pretty much, and talk with her, explain your project, and she will guide you towards how to overcome regulatory barriers in the baby food industry in Canada. Yeah. So it could
Thank you
sound
for that.
complex, but
Yeah.
by asking the right question, you will get some resources. Yeah.
So in the food industry, which a number of you here are in the food industry, it is, you got small margins, and it was, I know your story intimately because I've worked with you. And I remember when you first got your formulation done with the food science, a very interesting global event happened. Russia invaded Ukraine, and that affected an ingredient that you were getting from that region. So you had to circle back, and it was like, my goodness, that's such bad luck. But you were able to access more supports and resources to iron that piece out. So yeah.
Yep.
But sorry, thanks for sharing that. I wanted to go to Hamza and ask, you came here and you already mentioned the credit rating, and we've heard that a couple of times. You're new in Canada. I don't have a credit rating. I don't have access to capital. I got to get a rental place. I'm trying to start a business. Was there anything else other than the credit rating, or was that the biggest hardship that you had, and was there something that helped you overcome that?
So I think I'll echo what Luis also mentioned, being an engineer. So regulation is very high in that industry as well. So I'm still trying to understand how to navigate that. And that's why I actually went for my US clientele, because I'm just like, all right, Canada, I'm not sure what to do. Need to manage stuff. So that was, but it's really nice and insightful to hear about Luis's story. So it's good to know that I can solve that problem. Engineering is not as bad as baby food. I think there's hope for my idea here. So that was very challenging, and I think it's just not for the initial stages, like not having the right knowledge of where to go, and that started to change for me since having connected with people from the Simcoe County, and people just say, all right, this is what you do. Here's, in fact, like very quickly, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So for a period of time, I lived in Middleton, Brampton, in different cities. So I struggled to just find my way, and in the bigger cities. I'm actually, so Bahrain being a smaller country, I actually likes the very smaller community vibe versus the large city. And to TT and Ulu's point, and thanks for offering to reach out. I'm so glad somebody's been to Bahrain. I'm really happy about that as well. But yeah, but just like, the ratio of what services will be available to you, people are not willing to give you time. That's been very, very different. And to Miguel's point, where you're feeling alone and you're just trying to find your way. So yeah, knowledge of how to, work smart, save time, as Don, you mentioned before, that is really critical in the phase that financially you're starving and struggling, and then you need to quickly get up on your feet. So I think that's really important to me.
Was there any organization that you could identify within Simcoe County that's been instrumental in helping you, navigate that?
Primarily, it's been Agelic, and I'm trying to now widen my, I am new to Simcoe County, so I apologize for not knowing too much.
Yeah, but you know more than you're letting on here. Your experience speaks volumes. Thanks for sharing. Yeah. I have one more question that I'm going to go around the table with, and I ask this of all entrepreneurs, but I'm really, really keen on hearing what your lenses are on words of wisdom that you would give a newcomer. So someone that's coming to Canada from far and abroad, is there any tips or tricks or any particular advice that you would want to give them to ease their pain or their challenges, trials, and tribulations? Miguel, you're shaking your head. You got all these. I'm going to go with you first. Okay. So, what tips, tricks, or advice or words of wisdom would you give a newcomer wanting to open a business in Simcoe County?
That's my jam. So I have so many. I'm going to just limit to 5.
Okay.
The first one, yeah, the first one is asking for help is a sign of strength. Vulnerability is a superpower. So I come from a place where asking for help is seen as weakness, as something you should not do, and something that you should avoid. But I have learned and I have reprogrammed my mindset to say, you know what? No, I need to reach out and say, like, I don't know how to do that. Actually, I suck at that. So definitely I need help. So that's the first one. The second one, go on coffee chats with people that have done it. So just find them and ask them to go on a coffee chat. I can guarantee you that they have like good chances that you're going to get a yes, and you are going to learn right from like the person that has done it. So super important. The third one is do not assume, validate. Test all the advice that you're getting and just be ready to pivot. So what does that mean? Sometimes we say, like, you know what, my success formula back in Mexico was working, it should work here, so I'm just going to assume that it's good. Or I'm assuming that I need credentials. Oh, I'm assuming I need, to finish this, or an MBA, or whatever. It's like, do not assume, validate with people that have done it, with mentors, and test all the advice you are getting. Because if you have 10 mentors and 5 or 7 are telling you go to the left and 3 to the right, just test. Very quickly, if you only have time to improve one skill, I will focus on AI prompting, because that is going to open the door for everything. You can do coaching, you can have, right now, if you want, you can reach out and I can share with you some prompts that I've been doing. It's going to blow your mind. Like, it's insane how you can do crazy stuff, like upload books, ask to be coached from the book perspective. Is, yeah, super awesome. So happy to do that. And lastly, to truly become unstoppable as a business owner, I would recommend you to do one exercise. It's called the 7 why exercise. A mentor told me, Miguel, if your why you are doing this business, if your why doesn't make you cry, it's not strong enough. Go deeper. So, I love it, because once you find your true motivation of why you are doing things, and when things hit the fan, guess what? You are going to continue to show up. You are going to go just push forward, because you know why. You have rocket fuel. You don't have just an idea, an assumption. You have something that is very powerful. So, and I can go more because I have so many of these, but with these 5, I think they can help you today.
And these 5 are absolutely critical. I can attest to it. Watching entrepreneurs, newcomers, and people, even people that were born in this country. These are sage advice. Thank you for sharing that, Miguel. You're a wealth of knowledge, and we would love for people to engage with, perhaps Thrive Faster when they come to this, because you're definitely an expert in this area. Thank you, Sarah. What words of wisdom do you have 6 businesses later to that newcomer coming into Canada and saying, right, I want to open a business?
Thank you. On top of what Miguel has given us, I would say the first one would be to really learn the language. Like, I know that I come from a country where we do business differently. And even if I had a chance to go back to Uganda, I would have to learn the language in Uganda again. So one of the first thing is to learn the language, so that you can structure your business well. There are no shortcuts in Canada. That's what I've discovered.
When you say learn the language, Sarah, do you mean the English language, or do you mean learn the language of entrepreneurship?
Yes, the business language. The business
Okay, yeah.
is critical because they do things differently here. And like I said, no shortcuts. And then the other one, I know talent and skills can really help you, but mostly what matters is how persistent you are. If you give it 2 years and then you think, like, every person I talk in my community, they're like, I'm here to make a few millions and go back home. 5 years later, nothing has happened. So there's no way you have to be persistent and give things to grow and give them time, because it happens after some time. And then the other one is that business is a relationship. You may have the best products ever, but if you really can really work into growing your relationships, it's one person who leads you to another, and before you know it, you are pitching to Sobeys. And then the other one is, I come from also an environment where we kind of come from that area where what is in this for me. But Canada has taught me it's an ask and give situation all the time. So trying to volunteer, networking, and giving back to the community, which has really given us a lot, especially the Simcoe County. I find that, and now recently, I joined the electoral engagement advisory committee, and through that, you get to really have not only to volunteer, but you really get to talk to the top guys, I would say. All the time. So those are my, I guess, 4 or 5 as well.
And they're amazing. So the words of wisdom, we had learn the business language, persistence. How do you tell somebody to be persistent when they're really struggling? It's like telling a teenager something. I can imagine that could be quite trying for the recipient, saying you got to keep persistent, especially if you have a feeling of, oh, it's not working, and 5 years of slugging coffee at Tim Hortons, Miguel. etc. You know, I can just imagine. I think we need to put that up on the wall at Simcoe County of you know, even behind Rachel is instead of bienvenue and that it should be persistence. Good sage advice. Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
thing is, microwave food doesn't taste as good as one you really take your time to make. I am always in food, but when you marinate and really do those things, they come out really well. So microwaving, like in business, doesn't work. It
Hmm.
doesn't really taste good. So
Thank you for sharing. Lewis, what is your word of wisdom for a newcomer coming to Canada saying, "Yay, I want to open up a business, a plant baby business"? No, we don't want them.
Let's grow the category. No, Don, thanks. I was thinking about that this morning, and I think that I'm gonna give a word of wisdom that is super helpful still today. Still today, the net worth of your business will increase if you net work, right?
Ooh,
Um,
powerful.
And trust me, the Simcoe County has a lot of networking opportunities. The more you go out there, ask for help, send those emails, attend the meetings in Perry, Innisfield, Aurelia, Collingwood. I'm talking from experience. I've been all around the Simcoe County, which is lovely to drive through, by the way. Uh, you
There's
will
lots of
get
trees, I hear.
a lot of trees. I agree with my colleagues in Innisfield. Um, the more you go out there, you just take a look to Google, ask me or ask people at the sandbox. They always have a calendar in Innisfield, DMC as well. Where are those events happening? Where are those pitch nights? Where is the new food accelerator starting? The new job fair? All those. There's a lot of events here that you might not leverage from every one of them, but you will leverage a lot of tools, resources, and connections from them. And that is going to help your business in different ways, either from Kickstart, convince you, reassure you that this could be something, or if you already are there, it's going to help you grow, right? So net
So true.
worth through network. Yeah,
I like that saying. I usually say if you're not networking, you're not working. So
there you go.
I
Yeah.
love it. I love it. Thank you, Lewis. Titi, your words of wisdom to these newcomers that are going, "Yay, I want to open a business."
Don't give up.
Aha, persistence again. There you go.
Don't
Don't
give
give
up.
up.
Don't give up. And the temptation is to give up because typically, you are likely someone coming from a really, really strong background where you have some street cred already, whether it's career, whether it's entrepreneurship. And then coming here and similarly starting from scratch, learning the lingo for the ecosystem here, learning the culture as it's different, learning the fine art of networking with people that you and a culture that you're just learning to know can be pretty intimidating.
Oof,
So the
yeah.
things that we are very deliberate about putting on the table is one, find courage to ask the questions to the city. They are legally mandated to give you the right answers. If they give you the wrong answer, so I'm looking at all the government folks here and the folks that I heard Sarah saying the mayor on the other side of the street. Absolutely, they are legally mandated to be able to give you a response. Why? They are being paid to help you thrive,
Mhm.
having moved here. Two, tap definitely into the community of entrepreneurs. If you feel like you don't know who to go to, when you go in next to the store or somewhere, ask to talk to the manager, who is the owner in this place and all of that. It really does make a difference. And then I think three for us is identifying opportunities to be able to partner. Um, I'm a Nigerian by birth, but a South African and a Canadian by choice. And I will phrase the concept of Ubuntu this way: we can be who we are and be successful at what we do because our community is successful. You know, it's a symbiotic. Am I saying the right word?
Mhm.
Symbiotic relationship. So
Most definitely.
ability to be able to succeed can feed off the other person as well. And then everything everyone said around networking. I don't know if you have a couple of words.
I think my own is just go forward, right? there's something that's going to be constant with every business, every career opportunity, and that's challenge. And you don't grow through comfort, you grow through challenge. So you just keep going through it. When you find the fire, go straight into the fire. And that's where you grow.
Very amazing words of wisdom. Thank you for sharing that. Last but very not least, Hamza, what is your word of wisdom?
And you rightly highlighted, I'm among titans, so I feel humbled to provide any words of wisdom. But really quick, again, I know it's been repeated by almost everybody, but yeah, the resilience factor, being patient and perseverance. I'm gonna say it again. The desire is to give up. You'll be under immense pressure, and I think it's absolutely true. Regardless of being an immigrant, but as an entrepreneur, people talked about COVID. Stuff happens. Like you opened up a gym. Oh yeah, guess what? Nobody's gonna come to your gym. What do you do? So if you're gonna give up, don't be an entrepreneur. I know that sounds harsh, but that's just the toughest aspect of it. But yeah, but to be more specific, um, so as a new immigrant to Canada, one of the biggest things that really has been a powerful asset to me was that I did put some effort to planning certain things out. So if you're going to want to be an entrepreneur, how are you going to manage your sort of financial runway? You don't have a business right now. How are you going to survive? Do you have research about what are the rents in a certain area? Where are you going to live? How much is it going to cost to eat? So before I came to Canada, I actually reached out to I started to try to net or get numbers like on ground reality numbers of how much it would cost, and that really allowed me to struggle a little less. I would have to say it allowed me to survive a bit. Then, echoing Miguel's point, I also come from a place where I don't like asking for help because it's seen as a sign of weakness. And that really made me miserable for a long period of time because I was shy to ask, I didn't know anybody, and my finances started to plummet. And talking about the financial aspect, I also come from a background where it's not something you like to ask for, which is money. But there are also I'm very grateful of alhamdulillah that I don't have such a I am struggling financially, but I'm able to make it. But if you're not able to make it, there are even other resources there to try to help you manage that. So for me, this like cannot ask that. It is absolutely embarrassing for me to do that. And then there have been people within the Simcoe County, they're just like, look, you're paying taxes, you're doing your best, and if you need to ask for help, do that. Why do you have such a problem with doing that? So I think that yeah, the resilience factor, asking for help, and then finally, I think just a general broad business thing would be what I've just recently learned. You need to have a great team. If you're trying to build a team, some people within your business can become friends, and some friends should never, ever be business partners. I think I'll just end with that. I learned that the very hard way.
Sage advice again, yes. I've been madly scribbling notes while you all been talking, trying to encapsulate all these words of wisdom. So I've never felt so joyous about hearing the entrepreneurial journey, but also all of these positive messages that you're putting forward and saying, hey, yeah, we've been there, we've done it, we bought the t-shirt, and then willing to turn around and help. And so I'm going to try to decipher my hieroglyphics because it's really bad, but bear with me for a moment. Uh, connections, community, understanding, networks, and resources were words that all came from you. And I said, okay, these are very, very integral. And I'd like you to either thumbs up or thumbs down. Would you say, I know you're all going to go thumbs up here, it's biased. Would you say Simcoe County you got your hand up. Would you say Simcoe County exudes this connections, community, networks, and resources? Is it? Yeah. I feel so too. Being in Simcoe for pretty much my entire life, we may have a lot of trees, but we have a lot of community as well. And then just recapping very quickly on these words of wisdoms, ask for help. Heard that several times. And it's interesting to note that if you're coming from a culture where it's not looked at favorably, you're coming here and it's like you don't ask and you're already struggling, no credit rating, trying to get some capital, trying to take your idea, get it into market, and the unwillingness to ask for help. That's a big thing. Miguel's coffee chats. I always love the coffee chats, reaching out and talking to other entrepreneurs that have been there, done that, especially if they have come to Canada as a newcomer. It's you learn from others because they did it already. Why are you trying to recreate the wheel? That validate. The one piece I wanted to add to that was being open-minded as an entrepreneur is being open-minded to listen to multiple lenses. Entrepreneurs, founders are the captains of their own ships. If you get all these different lenses, you can make decisions from all of that information. So don't be afraid to ask all these different individuals. AI, use it. Miguel, I just want to put forward, I'm a prof at the college, and I tell my students use AI to a certain degree. But it does have, it's the power drill rather than the hand drill. I think there is some validity to it. Learn the business language and learn the culture. I think that's very, very powerful. If you're coming to another country and you don't understand how things are done, or the business language, the compliance piece, Sarah, I totally hear you. We've got more rules than Germany, and that's a lot of rules over there. Just saying, my wife's German, just so you know. Persistence, don't give up. Entrepreneurs, we're serious, we're passionate, but boy, if you just kept getting beaten, and you're kind of wondering, well, should I keep going? Turn around, back up to that networking, those coffee chats, those asking for help will definitely help you with moving forward. The relationships, the networking, if you're not networking, you're not working, or your net worth is your networking. I think that's very, very strong advice. And then partnerships, I don't even want to touch that one. Not big on it. I think surrounding yourself with excellence and having a team of individuals around you is critical, and looking to that. So we've got a few minutes later. Thank you all for sharing. We've got a few minutes to go, another about 10 or 5 minutes, 6 minutes, something like that. And there's a question in the chat, and it says, it's from Hamarit Kaur, and I plan to open a law firm in this region to start with. We also have other ideas in mind, which we'll eventually consider opening in Simcoe. It's kind of interesting, entrepreneurs, we're idea generators. It's like, yeah, I got an idea. I got an idea. Just keep firing them, right? So the question is, will these organizations that you've spoken to help the panelists, or which help the panelists also be able to help a legal business? I don't know who to turn that question to. Is there anyone that wants to attempt that has any experience in that, or will we wait till the organizations introduce themselves and speak to that? Is there any of the panelists that want to? Yeah, go ahead, Sarah.
I was when I went for the Startup Company Plus in Barrie, the business center. I do believe in that room. We had more than even businesses I've never had. We had more than 20 businesses from different backgrounds. We had accountants. We had so every business, as long as because the whole idea is to really grow the economies and people have different careers and backgrounds to come through. So yes, definitely, I think a legal business would definitely excel very well.
Right. Yeah. Lewis, you wanted to add?
Yeah, I agree. At the end of the day, the way I'm thinking is every business, regardless its nature, somewhat need a business model, right? And that business model comprise a lot of things: your go-to-market strategy, marketing, financial forecast, how you're going to recruit consumer or customers, B2B. So to my colleague's point, I think the different business accelerators in the county, HBEC, DMC, will easily, I don't want to speak on their behalf, but I just think that they will be able to help structure from a business model perspective, and depending what the specific need is. So yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree. From being part of HBEC and the Small Business Enterprise Center, we were not going to impart legal advice, but building a business model and building a practice, there's a lot of intricacies in that we can definitely, those organizations can help. I really like this question that Rachel put in here. Is like, how do you manage work-life balance, especially as an immigrant? Yikes. Hamza's got his head in his hands. He's ready to answer this. How do you manage work-life balance? as an immigrant?
I should have turned my camera off. Oh God. Well, so yeah, it's a constant sort of battle. So my current role is in New Mexico, Albuquerque. I'm the operations director for a company. It's a part-time role, and being transparent, they're not even paying me. It's an equity role. They have promised to pay me. So I said, you know what? I'm trying to find a role. I'm trying to set up my business. Let's just do something to keep myself busy. And then they, so I enjoy what I do. So it's a managerial role, it's business consulting. These are all things that I enjoy. I got sucked in. So like I committed to 5 to 10 hours, and I found that before I was looking, I was spending 30 to 40 hours trying to set up the business and getting things evaluated, doing whatever. And then one of my mentors kind of pulled me back, slow down. Are you getting any money from that? Can it help you survive? It's like, well, no, actually. So how I manage is I have to constantly get yanked by my trousers sometimes, and sometimes hold myself accountable. Like I'd say weekly, monthly, quarterly, I have like stop points, and I ask myself what's the priority, and I have to constantly keep pulling myself back into that frame of reference, and that allows me to remember what's important.
A heightened amount of awareness and having somebody grab you by your collar and say, hey, it's okay to say no sometimes. I get it. Yeah, I hear that a lot. Thank you, Hamza. Miguel, we have about 2 minutes left. I'll give you a minute to answer, and then I'll turn it over to TT.
So very quickly, I do not believe in work-life balance. So I know that's very contrarian and impactful, but I believe in dynamic tension. So when something moves so much, you need to come back and also be part of, of course, I have 2 little ones. I have full-time job, full business, and so on. But if you find your why, that's why I go back to that. If you really know why you are doing the things you are doing, and things will happen. And you make things happen just because you have a strong why. And that's my 60-second response.
So it's not about, the 50-50 split or the 60-40 split. It's find your why, and that passion and everything else will give you that feeling of work-life balance and success. Well done. Well done. Yeah. TT, got 1 minute.
Okay, I've got 1 minute. I believe in work-life balance in that it does not exist. So I guess we align. It doesn't exist in that at any given point in time, you have the opportunity to be able to lean in further in one direction. Classic example, Olu and I. Olu has been getting up and going back and forth because he has been taking care of the youngest one right now. So he's gone and he's done that. I'm able to continue to this. So and that's not necessarily the situation of everyone, but it translates to when you are able to identify and surround yourself with the right community, right? Remember what I said about Ubuntu? I can be who I am and the fullness of it when I am connected with my community. Your first point, if you're going to do anything here, is please find community. Identify people who can work with you and support you so that when you need to be able to go fishing on the lake, you can go fishing on the lake. And when you need to do some really late nights to be able to put a grant in or find that really great recipe for some green parenting, dishes, you can get it done. And if you're struggling, please come to 9 Round Fitness in Israel. We will help you thrive and be stronger mentally and physically.
I think you all have made thank you, TT. You've all made my job so much easier. Being entrepreneurs and that whole mindset, and then putting a commercial at the end and come visit me is absolutely amazing and fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom, your experiences, and such. I'm going to pass this back to Rachel. I know that she wants the organizations to present their services, their supports and resources. So I'll hand over the talking stick to Rachel.
Thanks, Dawn, and thanks everyone, all the panelists. It's very, very, I like finding, I'm not an entrepreneur, and I don't think I'm going to be an entrepreneur, but I feel like I want to be one right now. All of your stories are beyond inspiring, and I think that all the tips, especially the last one that you've shared, very on point. I couldn't agree more. I think that's there's a balance, but there's leaning into your community, your network, your support, your family, and that goes along in everything in life, right? If you're well surrounded, then it tends to always go a little bit better. So, well, To complement the information that was shared by the panelists and Dawn today, for support and guidance, we strongly encourage you to consider reaching out to local entrepreneurial services, and they can connect you with someone who's ready to provide personalized advice, mentorship, assistance, support, and so much more to help you succeed in your journey. So we're really pleased to be able to share with you some of those available supports that we have here in Simcoe County. We have many, and our first presentation comes from Nottawasaga Futures with Martin.
Awesome. Thank you, Rachel.
Welcome.
Yeah, so I'll begin up. Thanks for the kind words to TT and Lulu during their presentation. Been great clients for us. Can you hear me okay?
Mm-hmm.
Perfect.
Yes.
Awesome. So yeah, good evening, everybody. Thanks for having us as part of this conversation tonight. So whether you're starting a new business or looking to expand an existing one, we have a variety of programs and resources to help you succeed. Next slide, please. Oh, sorry, previous slide. Sorry about that. So Nottawasaga Futures is a not-for-profit community development organization. Our mission is simple: help local businesses thrive by providing loans, business coaching, and other resources. Next slide, please. So we have several programs that cater to different needs. For instance, the Community Investment Fund, which helps businesses access capital, as well as our business coaching and consulting services, which provide one-on-one support at no charge to local entrepreneurs. Other programs like BizLink assist entrepreneurs in buying or selling a business, and our youth entrepreneurship initiatives encourage the next generation of business owners. Next slide. So essentially, we serve all the municipalities of South Simcoe, which includes Agila, Tasarantio, Bradford, West Gwillimbury, Essa, Innisfil, and Tecumseh. Next slide, please. This is some more of the services that we offer. We have information on different government programs that are available from different industries and businesses. Next slide. So I mentioned earlier, one of our major programs right now is the business coaching and consulting programs. So services are provided in partnership with local municipalities. Like I said, the service is free and offers valuable one-on-one counseling to help entrepreneurs at every stage of their business. We have subject matter experts, everything from employment law to working with AI, working with an accountant, setting up QuickBooks in your business. Next slide, please. So here are some of the stats that we have done over the previous year. One of the things that we do is we deliver several workshops to our clients. So these workshops were excellent opportunities for entrepreneurs to learn, network, and share information. Like I said, we cover a range of topics from marketing strategies to financial planning, ensuring that our local businesses have the tools and knowledge they need to succeed. Next slide, please. As mentioned earlier, one of our cornerstone programs is a community investment loan fund. Through this program, business can access up to $300,000 directly from us, as well as in special circumstances up to $600,000 with partners through the WOCFDC, so the Western Ontario Community Futures Development Corporation. This funding is designed to support job creation or help maintain existing jobs. And it's a great resource for entrepreneurs who may need financing but may not qualify through traditional methods such as bank loans. Next slide, please. So in the previous year, we did a total of 12 loans, just over $900,000. And those are some of the key stats. Next slide. So Nottawasaga is also involved deeply in the community. We participate currently in 19 different community projects and provide support to various local organizations. These initiatives are focused on responding to the economic needs of South Simcoe and creating opportunities for businesses and residents alike. Next slide. So here's just some of our programs. So our reach, like I said, just goes beyond traditional businesses. We also coordinate filming in South Simcoe, so helping to attract productions that can bring economic benefits to the region, helping businesses tap that sort of new economic driver in the local economy. So acting as vendors for different film shoots, from catering, providing rental space, things of that nature. In addition, we focus on youth entrepreneurship, so introducing entrepreneurship as a viable career option for young people and providing them with the resources to start their own ventures. Another program that we have done in partnership with the other CFDCs in our region is the Visiting Program, which is a unique program aimed at helping local entrepreneurs buy or sell businesses within Simcoe County. It's an important service because it helps ensure that continuity of successful local businesses when owners are ready to retire and move on to other opportunities. Next slide, please. And here's just a couple more programs. So we're also involved with community projects like the Campbell Maple Syrup Festival, which creates meaningful work opportunities for adults with intellectual disabilities, as well as a program they've been delivering for over 20 years, the Acknowledge Forum, which strengthens the agricultural sector in South Simcoe by promoting sustainability and encouraging growth in food processing. Next slide. Next slide. So our work doesn't stop at business development. The South Simcoe Streams Network, which is one of our projects as well, is an environmental initiative that has planted over 60,000 native trees and shrubs since 2008. This program supports the local ecosystem by stabilizing floodplains and controlling invasive species, contributing to the long-term health and sustainability of our region. Next slide, please. So I hope this was within the time limits I was given, but thank you for taking the time to learn more about Narrow-Segget Futures in our entrepreneurship support programs. We're here to help your business succeed, whether through financing, coaching, or other resources. Please feel free to reach out to us if you have any further questions or need additional information. Thank you, Rachel.
Thanks, Martin. I appreciate that. And our next presenter is Tim Newton from the South Georgian Bay Small Business Enterprise Center. Tim?
Thank you, Rachel, and thank you, everybody. Great to have many of you with us tonight. And tip of the cap to all the entrepreneurs who, in my opinion, in expressing their stories and their opinions, their experiences, are the true experts in this. We have the infrastructure to support that help that provides pathways to success for entrepreneurs like those that you've heard from earlier this evening. So tip of the cap to all of you. Congratulations and well done on your journeys thus far. Next slide, please, Rachel. So my name's Tim Newton. I work for the South Georgian Bay Small Business Enterprise Center along with Don Bourne and Steph Richardson. Together, we're a small but mighty team that is part of a network of small business enterprise centers that exist across the province of Ontario. There are 47 small business enterprise centers operating out of 54 locations. We are funded mostly by the province of Ontario, but there is always a partnership between ourselves and either a municipality or, in the case of Simcoe County's other small business enterprise center, the city of Barrie. So it's either upper tier funding, municipal funding, or city funding that helps us to meet our objectives. As I mentioned already, there are 2 small business enterprise centers in the county of Simcoe. One is right in the city of Barrie, co-located in the Sandbox. And then our office is located in Collingwood, inside the Business Development Centre, that also houses 5 other agencies and organizations. So it really is, and we are, the sort of one-stop shop for all of your business support services. Next slide, please. Here's a picture of our team. You'll recognize 2 of us now from this evening, and Steph in the middle. And we exist as a safe place to land for any and all entrepreneurs that want information, support, and advice about how to start their businesses. Next slide, please. So what is it that we do that has impact for the entrepreneurial community? First and foremost, we provide free consulting services. So if you have an idea and you're mulling it over and you're not sure where to start, we're a great place to start for that. We provide free consultation services to any and all businesses, regardless of their stage or phase of operation. We will help develop those ideas, provide a lay of the land, help them to plan to succeed, and help them to through that sort of early stage growth. We have certain programs that we're provided additional funding for to help businesses get a little further, faster along that track to successful business. So we have a program we call the Summer Company Program for high school and university age students, provides a $3,000 grant, 2 to 3 months of training through the course of the summer. And we have hugely high levels of success with that program. We also provide the Start the Company Plus program, which offers a $5,000 grant, 6 months of business training, and a mentor that you are specifically paired up with. That program is for people that want to operate a business on a full-time basis. Whether it's starting or expanding, we can receive those applications. It's no different between my office in Collingwood or the Barrie office. So knock on our doors if you want more information about either of those programs. We also offer a slew of year-round events at low or no cost. We don't exist to make money off these events. It's really to cover some of the costs. We will run in and around 40 business events per year to support entrepreneurs through their evolution. And as was mentioned earlier by a lot of the entrepreneurs, the importance of networking really comes into play in those events that we run. We'll always include some form of networking and a place to connect and a place to establish and build those relationships that will be so valuably important for your business's evolution. We also offer regional economic development, and that's kind of code. I realize that's not good use of language here tonight, but that's code for resources, additional resources that we supply. So we have a virtual service advisory program where we can connect you with a lawyer, an accountant, a human resources professional, or a bookkeeper at no cost to get that first piece of valuable advice or answer some of those questions that you might have a burning desire to have answered, but don't necessarily have the budget to support. We will also offer a digital service squad service at no cost to help you elevate your digital footprint. And we have access to a free entrepreneurship learning channel with 30 online modules that you can connect through our Small Business Centres Ontario network. Next slide, please. We have, on an annual basis, an impact of meeting with around 606, well, this is last year, 662 businesses. We helped 78 businesses to start. We helped 56 of the businesses that we work with to expand. And we helped to create 117 jobs. One of those was Samindra here, who you see on the left-hand side of the screen. She was in our Summer Company program, and she started a company building to create wooden toy kits for children to build, as well as doing web development. She graduated from the program just 3 weeks ago and was an extreme success story for us. And thank you to Don, who runs that program within our office. It was really an amazing success story. She's just 15 years old and had an extremely successful summer. Next slide, please. So there are a slew of businesses that we will continue to help. Of those 600 or so that I mentioned, just a few ideas here that we've helped over the last year: digital marketing agencies, pet care and walking, clothing brands, automotive detailing, artificial intelligence consulting, window cleaning, tutoring businesses, breathwork and meditation businesses, holistic nutritionists, and the list goes on and on and on. We are sector agnostic. That means we really don't care what your ideas are. We will help you to bring those ideas to life. Next slide, please. I'm not sure that we'll have time to play the video, but what we can perhaps do, Rachel, is share this. It's a 60-second video that really does express the value of and the impact of the Small Business Enterprise Centres as a network of entrepreneurs. But if you go to the next slide, it's really just for me to say thank you. Our doors are open to welcome you to our communities and to support you in any way we can. And I know that Don and I share the sentiment that if we don't have the answer for you, we have a pretty good idea of where to find it for you. So doors are open. Come on in and see us. We will look forward to meeting you. Thanks, Rachel.
Thank you, Tim. And absolutely, I will make sure to include the link in the follow-up email to today's event with all the other attachments, the presentations and handouts. Next, we have a presentation from the DMZ Innisfil with Morteza.
Hey, everyone. Can you hear me? Awesome.
Yes, you're good.
Yeah, thank you so much for inviting me. And I'm super excited that I saw lots of familiar faces in this group and lots of great founders we already supported so far, like Miguel, Sarah, Luis, Abby. And yeah, I'm gonna introduce DMZ Innisfield program. My name is Morteza from DMZ Innisfield. I'm part of the economics development team in the town of Innisfield. And our goals are supporting current businesses and helping them to grow, and also supporting entrepreneurs to launch new businesses. On the other hand, we build the business community, and finally creating new jobs in Innisfield is our ultimate goal. At the town of Innisfield, we started partnership with DMZ Incubator and launched DMZ Innisfield program in 2020 to support entrepreneurs. So DMZ stands for Digital Media Zone, one of the 10 zones of Toronto Metropolitan University, and it's first ranked university-based startup incubator in the world. Has been launched since 2010 and has operations in more than 10 countries, supported over 1,000 startups, and succeeded in raising 2.69 billion in capital and created over 5,000 new jobs. Next slide, please. Yeah, as I said, we launched the DMZ Innisfield program in May 2020 and supported over 80 startups and local businesses so far that succeeded in raising $20 million and funded 4 million grants and created over 300 jobs in our community. We have lots of success stories so far. And yeah, we are here to support new entrepreneurs as well. Next slide, please. So we have some public actually business support, like for not just our members, for the whole community. We offer some workshops, boot camps, like for example, in different business topics, like for example, AI boot camp, like legal workshop, finance workshops. And we are here to support the all business community. And we also organize events to grow entrepreneurs community in Innisfield and connect founders to support each other. Next slide, please. So as I said, we have also cohort-based business support. So in our cohort-based business support, which is a 3.5 months program, we have two programs that work similar, but for different groups. The first one is Business Accelerator that we only support Innisfield businesses and that has kind of a tractions and growth potential. On the other hand, the second program is a startup incubator that we support scalable startups who has kind of a proof of concept and are located in Innisfield or Simcoe County. We offer business coaching, professional mentoring, workshops, boot camps, as I said, and also networking events and office space. All of them is free with no cost. And after graduation, we still support founders as the alumni to achieve their long-term goals. Next slide, please. At the first step, as a business coach, we ask them to set their objectives and key results and prioritize those they want to focus on during the program. It could be launching a new product, hiring new employees, market expansion, finding new partners, market research, fundraising, or any other goals. Next slide, please. And then we connect them to right mentors based on their goals. We have a diverse range of experts in different segments and areas, like, for example, idea validation, sales, finance, funding, marketing, branding, website, technology, accounting, legal, hiring, strategy, and everything, covering all the areas that entrepreneurs need support. Next slide, please. DMZ members also can attend DMZ Mastermind program that our members gather and talk about their experiences on specific topics like, for example, sales, marketing, for example, the campaign they recently launched, or the sales experience, or for example, fundraising experience. And they are here to learn from each other. We also have a library that our users can use, rent a book, for example, a game, and we attend, and they can actually, aside from all the resources that we have also some major events that they can attend, for example, Collision, Elevate, Reignite, and we offer some free tickets or discounts to our members for this type of events. Also, we have an office space that members can use it for free and access and 24/7 access to a mobile application. We use the space for some networking events, and also founders can use the space for their meetings and also conferences or just only work and use co-working space to get to know other founders in our community. Next slide, please. So we are looking for founders who are accountable, coachable, and ambitious, and want to spend some time to go and work on the business. From the business perspective, we are looking for scalable businesses that has kind of a proof of concept and has some market potential. Next slide, please. So thank you, thanks for your time, and you can sign up to our newsletter, Inspire Economic Development newsletter, to get information about the new events details or new workshops. And also you can apply to the cohort intakes that we have twice a year. We recently launched the fall cohort in September until December, and you can apply for the next cohort that we will have in the next year, 2025. And you also, as I said, you can attend monthly workshops and events, and feel free to reach out to us and email us at business@immigrant.ca. Thank you for your time.
Thanks, Marteza. Appreciate it.
No worries.
Our next presenter is coming from the Aurelia area, and that is Celeste with the CDC.
Thanks, Rachel.
You're
And
welcome.
thank you, everyone. And thank you to our panel. Some really inspiring stories today. So yeah, from the Aurelia area CDC, we serve the Aurelia and then the surrounding townships. Next slide, please. So yeah, we are a community futures office. So community futures serve rural communities all throughout Canada. There are 4 offices in Simcoe County. There is, of course, Nottawasaga in the Alliston area. There is Community Futures, South Georgian Bay and Collingwood, North Simcoe Community Futures in Midland, and then us in the Aurelia area. Next slide, please. So we offer business coaching. It's often our first starting point for business owners where they have this idea or they want to grow or transition their business. We offer free business coaching. We offered 884 coaching sessions last year, and they are free. And we also have some professional templates, checklists, guides as well. Next. Perfect. We also offer business financing. So we offer business loans up to $300,000. And then what's really key about our office, and of course, all of the business support centers in our network throughout Simcoe County, is that we are all local. So when you work with our team, you're working with someone who lives in our community, and our board are all local, where it's not like when a bank, you might be talking to a consultant in another part of the province. We're all local and we understand the local needs. Next slide, please. We also have a community capacity building fund grant. We have $20,000 that we grant every year, up to $3,000 per project. And we are currently accepting intake for this program. So we're accepting applications until October 21st of this next month. And we are focusing on projects that are innovative, looking at expansion, bringing in new ideas, and increasing capacity. And then we also have Pathways to Employment. So Pathways to Employment just relaunched this month. So we offer a wage subsidy program for youth between the ages of 15 to 30. So we offer meaningful employment and we offer subsidies of $12.25 for the employers. It's a 6-month subsidy to allow the youth to really get involved and integrated into the workforce and get really comfortable and be meaningful employees for them to keep on after the 6 months is up. And then we have BizLink. So our BizLink program helps support people looking to buy or sell their business. Oftentimes selling a business can be the retirement package for our entrepreneurs. And so we offer supports in terms of setting up and preparations for that transition. And also we've got a database in terms of connecting buyers and sellers in terms of potential matches, and then offer coaching and supports as they navigate that process. Yeah, we also have various community development supports. We have lots of community partners, experienced staff. Typically, one of us on the team knows and know what someone else does. And then we also offer professional development workshops throughout the year. And our biggest professional development event of the year is our annual Lunch and Learn. So our event is actually October 10th. So coming up, we're looking at, it's going to be at Casino-Rama. We're going to have a panel of local innovators, folks that have had a concept or faced a barrier and developed a product or service to meet those needs, as well as some really exciting engaging and educational speakers. So that'd be really great. Tickets are on sale. Join us at Casino-Rama for that. Also, really interestingly, yeah, so a big part of what we do is that we are local and that we are there in office to support folks. I had a newcomer come into our office yesterday, settled just to the country a year ago, looking to register for HST as a non-resident. And that's not something that we had done before. And in navigating CRA is a difficult process, and it's a very different process for a non-resident. And it was difficult for me to walk them through it. And so I can't imagine how it would be for folks whose English is their second language to navigate that on their own. So having folks in the office to just walk them through the process, that hand-holding, that one-on-one is a key aspect that our office and all of our teams here on the call offer. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you, Celeste. Our next presenter is Dina from the Sandbox in Barrie.
Hello. So I'm going to get you to skip ahead just to my next slide and then the one right after that for me to start, because yeah, right there. Go back one. Perfect. So I just want to thank everyone for inviting me. Just a little brief history on just me and why this means so much to me is I'm actually the child of immigrant entrepreneurs. English is my second language. I'm a dual citizen, and I have lived the life of a family who tried and tried to fit into an area where they had those struggles and they didn't have the help. So this whole meeting today, I just think is so impactful because I just know what my parents went through and they would have loved to have had this resource. So thank you again for hosting this. It really does mean a lot to the people who are really looking to succeed and find that community. So my name is Dina. I'm the managing director of the Sandbox Center in Barrie. Who we are, it's different to every single person you talk to. We call ourselves a bit of the everything bagel. We are a innovation center that was up until very recently going through a bit of a transition process. We are a business hub. We are a not-for-profit. We are looking to enhance connections in our community and really make sure if you come to us and you're asking a question that we already know the partner that we can hand you or basically give that warm handoff to. We house a small business center and the HVAC den in-house with us. We collaborate on programming. We want to be that place that you walk into and you know you don't need to wear a suit. You don't need to come with your business card forward. It's people before pitches because we want you to be able to connect with your community. So next slide, please. So our community is again, a mix. We have probably closer to 160 different businesses now. That's not members. That's just the actual businesses that we have in house. Some of those businesses have 50 to 100 staff that could be a part of our mix. What this actually means, if we were to relate that back to anyone walking in our door, is that we believe in peer-to-peer support and learning. So when you walk through our door as someone who has an idea or someone who has a business, you might be able to get paired up with someone or walk into a meeting with someone who has years of experience and is a CEO of a company. And that includes our very founder who's often in our space and looking to connect and help as many people as possible. So what's great about our center is that you don't know what you're walking into, who you're about to meet, and how your life could possibly change with that. So next slide, please. This brings us to our peer circle. So we host many events. Some of them are whiteboarding sessions, which are our members who are experts in a subject matter who will host sessions. Our peer circles are our foundation. They came from our founder who was paying thousands of dollars to go to Toronto. He's part of the McKay CEO Forums and Innovators Alliance, and that is where the CEOs of many of these companies come together and they talk through their issues rather than competing with each other, or they bring in subject matter experts and they learn to collaborate together to bring forward innovation. When our founder was coming back to Barrie, he was so excited and he wanted to talk to his staff about everything he just learned, and he found they were burnt out and they didn't have the energy to it. So he thought to himself, what wouldn't this be amazing if we could make this happen for everyone where they're not paying tens of thousands of dollars to be a part of this? So he brought forward these peer circles. Right now we actually probably have about 7 in current operation. One really wonderful one that we love for anyone who's starting out is the solopreneur peer group. That doesn't mean that you are just starting. It means someone could be 20 years into their solopreneur business where they're a one-man show, but they're an expert in it, so they can lend their expertise to you. But all of these are basically open to anyone who'd like to attend. So if you have a business but you want to know more about marketing, come to the marketing peer circle. Same with sales. Our spirit of service is unique, where it's actually a mixed group of individuals that we've put together that you sit in a room with and they help you with your problem. So there might be a finance expert, an ops expert, an HR expert, and we've put them all in there where you can just ask questions, because what we want to give is free flowing support in an area that you feel safe and secure to express those vulnerabilities in. So again, these peer groups were a foundation and they continue to be, and they actually are just continuing to grow. So next slide, please. So this is I just took a little sampling of some of our programs that we have. So traditionally, Women in Business has been a staple at the Sandbox. Now, it has grown into several different events. So what Women in Business did was monthly we held sessions where we would have different women from the community being, hosting, whether it be a brunch or just a talk in front of a group where everyone will come together and again have that discussion. What it evolved into is, we can go to the next slide there, was our Terra Talks event, which was our take on TED Talks. Again, this was a brainchild between myself and actually a local entrepreneur. It has now grown where we just recently partnered with Fuel Innovation to bring it to Aurelia. It's already being partnered with another party now to bring it again. And it's all about taking experience, putting an emphasis on that mental wellness piece, and putting those vulnerabilities forward with some tangible skills that you can take away from that. So that's just an example of what we look to do, where a community comes together, has an idea, and how we can have that grow to make a bigger impact. So we can go to the next slide, please. Our social hour, that is again one of our staples. So that is our beautiful patio that has Wi-Fi that extends out to there. So we have a lot of our entrepreneurs who love to work on that patio. I was out there all day today working. And again, our social hour happens on Thursdays. Please feel free to attend. It's usually between 4 to 6. Everyone is welcome to come in, experience it, see who you meet, how you connect with them. We'll give you a tour of our space and we can really see where that fit is and what we could do for you. So again, it is a very open and welcoming environment. And again, you can talk about your business, but there's no need. You can just come to meet a whole new group of community, like a new group of people. So we do thrive on community here. So we'll go to the next slide, please. This one's my baby and I love it so much. So again, I had this idea and I went to the Henry Bernick Entrepreneurship Center to partner with me on this, because I looked to what were all the struggles that my parents had? What were all of those situations that we got stuck in? How hard was it for them in a small community to find those resources that they needed? And again, I became an ESL teacher because my mom turned to me one day and said, "Can you help me read? I'm struggling with this, and yet I have a business, and this is hard." So I wanted to make something where it would have a place that you could become familiar with, basically tap into a group of experienced mentors so we could give you those people to support, lean on our business experts in the community who can come and teach you these skills too that we have put in place. So now you have a face to a company to a solution that you may be looking for. So it's an 11-week program that's designed to give you some of those skills like learning corporate English, customer service, how does the financial world work here, just the business culture overall. And it's all intended to support you so that even if we didn't answer your question that day, you now have a place that you feel comfortable in and people that so you can express those vulnerabilities so we can get you to that next phase. So I wasn't as prepared as everyone else with the end connecting piece of who I am, but I will send that out in an email with my information. And we were a bit busy this week, so I apologize. I don't have all of our info at the end, but I can give our address, our phone number, our email to connect, and again, reiterate that social hour time if you'd like to come in and experience the sandbox. So sorry I rambled. I'm Greek and I do that, but thanks again for having me.
Thanks, Dina. That was perfect. No, you did really, really great. And we did include the information in our handout about the Small Business Center. But if you want to send me some of the information that you have here as well, I can add it to the email that will go out following this event to everyone who attended today.
Perfect.
So finally, we have our Dawn back to speak with us about the Henry Bernick Entrepreneurship Center.
I went from John to being our Dawn. I like it. Thank you. What an amazing ecosystem we have within Simcoe County. Thanks for all of the organizations that introduced. I want to talk a little bit about the Henry Bernick Entrepreneurship Center. And this is the reason we exist, is this man, he was an immigrant himself. He was a very successful entrepreneur here in Simcoe County. There's actually a street named after him. And of course, the center itself. He made his fame and fortune in land development, along with many other small businesses. Much like Sarah, he was a serial entrepreneur. But what he really was someone that liked to pay it forward and liked to have other entrepreneurs. And like all entrepreneurs, he saw a need, a lack of supports and resources within the region, Central Ontario. And so he felt it important to leave some money to the college, $1.5 million in 2010 to create the center to help entrepreneurs, founders start, build, and grow their businesses. He looked at the students that were coming out of the college, not very well prepared on the entrepreneurial side, and he also looked at the community entrepreneurs. So we help both of those, about 50% student, 50% community. Next slide, please. How do we help? There's 4 pillars. Don't try to read this. I hate this slide. So the first one is mentoring. We call that surrounding yourself with excellence. We have a stable of mentors. These are subject matter experts or individuals that have been there, done that, bought the t-shirt, and people that, founders that engage with the center can have access to these mentors. You may have heard Miguel and Lewis talk about that. So we're surrounding you with excellence and getting you that experience from other people. The second pillar is funding. I'll be straight up with you. We don't fund businesses. We don't have that much money. That being said, you need to get prepared, creating pitch decks or a business plan to go and get that capital. So we help in that way. The third pillar is training. We do a lot of programs and trainings to the students. And then we also have programs outside of that. I'll tell you in a bit on how to find out more about it. The big training program that we have is called Further Faster. We deliver it at the Sandbox. I'll talk about that in just a moment. And the last pillar is connections. A lot of the times it's not what you know, it's who you know. And I think we started to hear that quite a bit from the panelists. And so trying to get you in the room with the right person and get that right information to help move that needle in the right direction. So we call it 1 degree of separation. The story I like to tell is one of our mentors plays in a band called Sonic Coalition. The drummer of the band is our past mayor, Jeff Lehman. So if you wanted to get into the room with Jeff, we could make that happen pretty quickly. Next slide, please. There's a number under research, innovation, and entrepreneurship. We have 3 organizations. There's us, the Henry Bernick Entrepreneurship Center, research and innovation, which is part of the college that has access to students and faculty and industry to help entrepreneurs with data, big data, excuse me, analytics, access to product design and prototyping. a 3D printer, 3D printer, a digital printer, all kinds of wonderful equipment and such to help entrepreneurs, as well as the recent one was testing a new beer, quinoa beer, as a matter of fact. And so there was a taste test panel. I was fortunate enough to be part of that. That was pretty amazing. There's also the Center for Changemaking and Social Innovation. This organization helps entrepreneurs that are building social enterprises. Think of 10 Trees, a company that is a for-profit company that sells apparel. Every time you buy apparel, you get to plant 10 trees somewhere in the world. This is a business model that gives back to people, places, and planet. So you have the social innovation, or the Center for Social Innovation, as part of our whole organization. Next slide, please. As I was saying about the mentors, we have a stable of mentors in all of these different areas that you can sit down, get in the room with, and learn more about what you need to know and help guide you and connect you. Next slide, please. And I did mention the Further Faster program. It is a 10-week, 12-session business training program. We run it 3 times a year that coincides with the semesters at the college. What I call this program is Foundations and Kumbaya. It's getting community entrepreneurs and student entrepreneurs. These are students that are considering, it's like, I got an idea, I wonder what I can do with it. Putting them all in the room, and just wonderful things happen. Again, we've had a number of panelists here tonight that have gone through Further Faster to accelerate their business. Next slide, please. We all get too many emails, and trying to figure out an email address or anything else. The easiest way to get any information on the Henry Bernick Entrepreneurship Center is follow us online. We do social media really well: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, etc. And it's just at GCHBeck. Next slide. I want to thank all of you for coming out to this. This is a group of Further Faster entrepreneurs. We got a couple of chocolate companies in there. We got a bakery, vegan bakery, etc. We even have Jesse Kerr from the Sandbox in there, which is pretty awesome. So we really, really enjoy working with entrepreneurs, helping them start, build, and grow. So back over to you, Rachel. I think we're on time. Yeah.
We are. Thanks, Don. And thank you, everyone, for presenting on your services and programs. We do have a couple minutes for questions. If any one of you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. Not sure. We are a graduate of Further Faster, gives much clarity on business operations and more. Fantastic. Great to know Don and his team are outstanding, supportive, exceptional value in businesses. There we go. This is great. I wanted maybe to circle back to the question we received earlier with regards to the, sorry, going way back up to opening a legal business, and if for the available programs and services that are in the region, is that something that you could support? I'm not sure where this person is located. Maybe if one of you is more expert in, navigating the legal side of thing for legal businesses, I'm not sure. Anyone who wants to answer this from our presenters? Dina.
So again, I can't necessarily answer it right away. I did manage and expand a law firm for 5 years myself. So that's just something under my belt that I've done. Expanded one from Mississauga into Toronto and managed that. But that's just the example of what we have in our space. So some of our members are law firms, some of our sponsors are large law firms. So again, connecting people with people in business is something that I think none of us are going to take that stance of, I will tell you exactly what to do to open this law firm, but can I maybe connect you with someone who has experience with it? Yes. Can I tell you about my experience with doing it? Yes. So those are conversations and people that we would also be happy to make those introductions to, only because, again, when you're dealing with the law society and those kind of pieces, I think we all stand back a bit. So we let that, but definitely happy to connect them to people that we think they could, get some support from.
That's great. Thanks, Dina. I hope that answered your question. It looks like you're in Barrie, so please connect with the Sandbox Center. They may be able to assist with those connections and mentorship piece. Are there any more questions for our presenters for today? Medical device licensing. Would like to know more info on it, please. Any to go organization available to go for consulting. Is this questions for the presenter? Or was it?
That'd be a general question. Got some typos there. Yeah, I was just wondering how the licensing worked and if we had any mentorship programs just for medical device licensing. I know we have awesome programs for foodpreneur, like getting the food to market. So
Something more specific to that industry?
Yes.
Okay.
Just curious.
Thank you. Does anyone want to take that question on? We have about a minute.
Just to jump in, and I said this earlier in my presentation. You know, if we don't have the answer specifically, we'll probably know where to find it. And I had a client that had a medical device licensed in Canada and then into the US, and we'd be happy to try to find them and connect you to them for that shared learning and experience.
Awesome, thank you.
Wonderful. Thanks, Tim. I hope that answered your question, Avi. We will be sharing, as I mentioned multiple times, some handouts, some flyers, some informations about today's event, and we'll be sharing the slide deck. You will be able to get in touch with the services that were present here today, as well as some who were unfortunately not able to come to present to you, but we will link you all of their contact information as well as their website, and then you can navigate at your leisure. And then also they are divided per sort of geographical region in the county. So we have North Simcoe and South Simcoe and Aurelian, Barrie, and Collingwood. And so just to make it a little bit easier to navigate as well. So I want to thank you all for being here today. I hope you found this panel to be valuable to you. I certainly thought it was wonderful. I really appreciate all our panelists who were here today that took the time to be here and share their experiences, their journeys, share some insights. I also would like to send a big thank you to Dawn, our Dawn, for facilitating today. That was, again, really well done. Thanks again. And all of our presenters for taking the time for being here. You know, I know it's a little bit later, and I really appreciate everyone for being here. And again, do not hesitate to reach out. We also have some Week of Welcome events that are coming up for the rest of the week. We do have a regional job fair tomorrow at the South Shore in Barrie. And we will have some municipal open houses as well taking place in Barrie, Aurelia, New Tecumseh, and Bradford, West Gwillimbury. So I will be sure to send those flyers out. And now it is 8 o'clock. So we will conclude this panel. And again, I hope you enjoyed this event. And I wish you a wonderful evening. Take care, everyone.